Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that Earth isn't a sphere at all. Not because scientists were wrong, but because in another universe, Earth was never round to begin with. Sounds impossible, right? But according to physics, some truly bizarre versions of Earth could theoretically exist. And a few of them are so strange that simply standing on the ground could become a life-threatening experience. Take a donut-shaped Earth. At first glance, it sounds ridiculous. But mathematically, it's possible. The real shock comes when you look at gravity. On one side of the planet, you could weigh almost nothing. On another, gravity could feel crushingly strong. You might jump and float like you're on Mars. But here's the strange part. The moon would no longer orbit normally. Instead, it could swing through the giant hole in the center or trace a bizarre figure-8 pattern around the planet. And every time it moved, Earth's oceans would react. Massive tides, violent flooding, entire coastal cities disappearing beneath unstable oceans. And that's not even the craziest part. Weather systems would become monsters. Hurricanes larger than anything we've ever seen could constantly tear across the planet. Yet somehow, humans might still survive. But what if Earth's shape became even stranger? Imagine two Earths fused together like a giant dumbbell. Now gravity starts pulling in opposite directions. The narrow bridge connecting both worlds would be under unimaginable stress. Volcanoes would erupt continuously as the planet struggles to hold itself together. Crossing from one side to the other could be nearly impossible. And this is where it gets weird. The two halves might evolve independently. Different species, different technologies, different civilizations. Two worlds sharing one planet. But if these shapes are already bizarre, the next Earth looks surprisingly normal, until you realize how much it changes everything. Picture Earth shaped like an enormous egg. At first, it doesn't seem that dramatic. But appearances are deceiving. Gravity would change depending on where you live. Some regions would feel heavier, others lighter. Weather patterns would stretch into unfamiliar extremes. Entire civilizations might develop differently simply because they grew up under different gravitational conditions. But here's the strange part. That might actually be one of the safest worlds on this list. Because next comes the shape everyone talks about. A flat Earth. And no, not the internet version. A real flat planet. What happens next changes everything. Gravity would pull most of the atmosphere toward the center. Near the edges, breathing could become impossible. Move closer to the middle, and the air becomes dangerously dense. One side suffocates, the other gets crushed. And then comes an even bigger problem. Without a spherical structure, Earth wouldn't have the protective magnetic field that shields us from solar radiation. The sun would become a silent killer. But somehow things get even worse. Imagine a cube-shaped Earth. 6 giant faces, 8 towering corners, and gravity behaving in ways your brain can barely visualize. Water would gather toward the center of each face, creating 6 enormous oceans. The edges? Almost lifeless. Dry, rocky, hostile. Traveling between faces could be harder than crossing continents today. Entire civilizations might never even know others exist. One face could be frozen, another could be scorching hot, and another could experience weather unlike anything we've ever seen. But that's not even the craziest part. Because the next Earth shape doesn't just bend the rules of physics. It completely breaks them. Imagine discovering that Earth is completely hollow. It sounds like the ultimate science fiction mystery. Hidden worlds, secret civilizations, unknown oceans beneath our feet. But reality destroys the fantasy. A hollow Earth couldn't hold itself together. Gravity would crush it inward until it collapsed. And even if it somehow survived, life wouldn't. No magnetic field, no stable atmosphere. Relentless solar radiation. The surface would be exposed to the full fury of space. And this is where the story takes a shocking turn. Because the strangest Earth isn't technically a planet at all. It's something called an Alderson disk. Picture a gigantic cosmic disk orbiting a star. Not thousands, not millions, but hundreds of millions of kilometers across. Large enough to house billions upon billions of people. At first, it sounds like the ultimate future civilization. Unlimited space, unlimited expansion, unlimited potential. But here's the terrifying catch. The structure would require resources from entire planets just to build. Earth, Mars, and countless others, all sacrificed to create a single megastructure. And even then, there's a problem nobody can ignore. Its own gravity. If the disk became unstable, it could collapse inward under its immense mass. The result? Possibly a black hole. A civilization-building project transformed into a cosmic catastrophe. So after exploring donut worlds, dumbbell planets, cubes, hollow Earths, and megastructures the size of solar systems, one question remains. Maybe Earth's greatest feature isn't what makes it extraordinary. Maybe it's the fact that it's perfectly ordinary. Because among all the impossible worlds physics allows, our planet seems almost unbelievably balanced. But what if this isn't the final version of Earth? What if millions of years from now humanity transforms it into something entirely different? And that's where the real mystery begins.